Here I am. Hey guys. We normally give everybody about 5 minutes to get in here. So I am back. I am back from the dead. Yay. Oh my gosh. So last week was absolutely awful. We had gotten the flu, and then after that, we got walking pneumonia. And then after that, pollen decided to hit. Yeah, it's been an eventful last 7 days or so. But I am back. The costs are at a very minimum, so I do go ahead and apologize beforehand um, if for some reason I lose my voice or get cracky or something like that. But I am so glad to be back. My name, if you're new here, my name is Mother Della Mort. I am your host for the Horror Gallery. We cover all sorts of dark history, uh, folklore, all kinds of like just high strangeness. So if you dig that, then I think you'll like it here. I think you'll like the show. We will also be having an expanded section onto this episode later tonight after the public stream. So if you're one of our patrons or are looking to become one of our patrons, please head on over to Patreon. We'll give you the link at the end of the public stream, and you can follow that on over and subscribe. The subscription helps us on the back end so that we can continue to bring you awesome content, studio stuff, different stuff like that. So there's that. And we do greatly appreciate it. And you do get a lot more as far as exclusive content and expanded episodes and just all kinds of shenanigans that a lot of memberships don't offer. You might normally get like one or two additional pieces of content, and we offer you a lot. So it's well worth $5 a month, and you will be forever loved by us. Um, we're going to give everybody about 2 more minutes. So please share, share, share. That is actually the best and free way to support your content artist, and we greatly appreciate that. And I figured I would lighten it up a little bit on this episode. I know the last two episodes were pretty heavy, so I figured we'd lighten it up a little bit. We're going to be talking about little known or more localized folklore. I mean, not folklore, I'm sorry, cryptids, urban legends, things like that. I think you'll get a kick out of that. That'll be a lot of fun. Um, I found some really interesting ones, some I had never heard of before. So I think you'll like this. Let's go ahead and go on over to the comment. If you're new here, let us know you're here. Let us know if I sound okay. I think I sound pretty good. Um, just come on in and say hello. And if you are a new victim here in the crypt, let us know where you're from. So a couple more minutes, because I think the notification, at least on Facebook, went out just a wee bit late. So, but yeah, I hope everybody has had a really, really good last week um, and didn't get pinched too much on St. Patrick's Day, on All Snakes Day or Green Beer Day. That was a lot of fun. And I see Calvin. Calvin says, hello, Mother, Odd Mother. Well, hello, Calvin. We are so glad you're here. And like I said, please share, share, share. That is the best way to support your content artist. And it's absolutely free. And then we have Kisa. Kisa's here. She says, hi, Odd Mother. How are you? We are so glad that you are here. And it looks like we're going to get started. So I know that you two just came in over here on Facebook. So what we're doing, we're lightening it up a little bit. I know the last two episodes were pretty heavy. They were more on the serious side. And we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to talk about more localized cryptids. I mean, yeah, we've all heard about Nessie. Yeah, we've all heard about, you know, I don't know. Gosh, there's so many of them. Bigfoot, all that kind of stuff. And there's so much material out there that I think that kind of stuff is pretty easy to find. I like to find more of the obscure, and I learned some things too, looking these up. But these are more like localized cryptids we're going to be talking about tonight. And then we're going to be talking about one of my favorite cryptids, the little cutie patooties. We're going to be talking about the Fresno night crawlers in our expanded episode. Just too cute. Oh my goodness. The traveling haunted ants. So, but let's go ahead and get started. And yeah, Mothman. Kisa says Mothman. Yeah, that's a pretty common one too. It's got an interesting story that kind of links into some other stuff. Um, we may wind up, covering that eventually, but I do like to keep to the kind of lesser known, give everybody a little bit of time to shine. So tonight I'm calling this Unearthed and Forgotten Cryptids, What Lurk in the Dark. So there are some spots around the world that have unexplained events that happen. These often go down in local lore, and if they're creepy enough, they become widely known. Now, some of these are pretty darn creepy, and I had never heard of them. Now, thrill seekers are always looking for their next scare or maybe to disprove this lore. So join me tonight as we go over some of these lesser known. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start out with some haunted locations. So more kind of in the urban legend category. The first one I wanted to talk about is Slaughterhouse Canyon of Kingman, Arizona. Now, the haunted legend of the ghost of Slaughterhouse Canyon unfolded in the year of 1882 within the town of Kingman, Arizona. With a complex history as both a Native American reservation and a military base, it always gets spooky when military involved. The town experienced growth when a railroad section was routed through the area. This eerie urban legend encompasses elements that invoke true fear, sickness, disease, tragedy, heartbreak, hopelessness, pain, desire, madness, disaster, regret, and death. All the really interesting stuff. The tale revolves around a miner who, one fateful day, embarked on his mining ventures after bidding farewell to his beloved wife. Her name was Luna, and expressing his love for his family. However, unfortunately, as the days turned into weeks, the miner failed to return. Luna and her children found themselves facing dwindling supplies and dwindling hope. The specter of starvation loomed over them, exacerbated by Luna's worries about her husband's fate. Did he succumb to illness, fall victim to an animal attack, or meet a tragic end through an accident or robbery? Because that was it was kind of the Wild West back then. Unfortunately, regardless of whatever answer there was, it did not alter the grim reality of her family's slow demise. Luna's heart shattered alongside the growls of her empty stomach, and the combination of her husband's disappearance and the scarcity of food pushed her towards the edge of madness. Now, Luna's children, weakened by starvation, cried and pleaded for food each passing day. But their mother had nothing to offer. Faced with the heartbreaking sight of her children wasting away, Luna reached a breaking point. Unable to bear witness to their slow death any longer, she descended into a state of insanity. Actually, that would be a horrible thing. It would be an absolutely horrible thing. On a stormy evening, consumed by madness, this is how the tale goes. Luna donned her once beautiful white wedding dress and armed herself with a knife. In a horrific act, she took the lives of her beloved children. Not only did she take their lives, but she dismembered their small bodies and cutting their flesh into pieces. By the time her gruesome task was completed, her wedding dress, once a symbol of purity, had transformed into a horrifying garment drenched in blood. The shack in which the massacre transpired was drenched in crimson as well, its walls becoming a testament to the brutality of the act. Luna gathered the remains of her children and cast them into the river, then collapsed to the ground, overcome with grief and awareness of the unspeakable horror she had perpetrated upon her innocent babies. She cried inconsolably in the rain throughout the night, succumbing to starvation and joining her children in death the following morning. Located a mere 12 minutes drive from Kingsman, Arizona, Slaughterhouse Canyon has become intertwined with its tragic tale. Many ghost hunters who venture to the canyon claim that on quiet nights, the anguishing screams and sobs of the tormented mother, consumed by madness, echo through the abyss, serving as a chilling reminder of the dark events that unfolded there. So, what do you think about that one? A little gruesome, kind of um, a La Llorona type thing. Um, but I think with everything like that, a lot of times there really is like a kernel of truth. And like I said back then, I mean, it was the Wild West, and bad things happen to good people sometimes. And I guess we all kind of have a breaking point. I don't know if I would go to that point, but yeah, I found that interesting. I had never heard of this particular canyon before. And let me know down in the comments, have you heard of that one before? So let's see what else we've got going on here. Lakisa says she likes the name Luna. Yeah, it is a pretty name, and it's a very pretty name. And then she also says interesting but sad. Yeah, that one was a little sad. That one was a little sad. But that's how urban legends are born. So, all right. So now we're going to talk about Riverdale Road that's in Thornton, Colorado. Now, Riverdale Road, stretching 11 miles between Brighton and Thornton, Colorado, has gained a reputation as a hotbed of paranormal activity, earning recognition as one of the most haunted roads in the country. Countless tales of hauntings and eerie encounters have emerged along this notorious stretch. Now, the legends surrounding Riverdale Road abound, encompassing a wide range of supernatural phenomena. Stories include hangings, burnings, ghost children, and even a spectral Camaro. Kind of a cool specter. I'd like to see a spectral Camaro. Notably, the road is also associated with the enigmatic Hell's Gates, and we covered that on one of the "You Can't Sit with Us." Now, Hell's Gates, whose exact location remains a mystery, adding to the spine-chilling allure. One of the earliest rumors surrounding Riverdale Road speaks of a Native American burial ground nearby, believed to cast curses upon trespassers. According to local folklore, various entities take animal form along the road, with gray foxes embodying evil spirits, while the presence of coyotes signify protective forces watching over individuals. Towards the north end of the road, close to Highway 7, once stood a significant house that became the subject of a demonic possession. The possessed owner purportedly set the house ablaze, tragically claiming the lives of his family within. These events led locals to dub the property's large iron gates as the Gates of Hell. Rumors suggest that a community of Satanists once resided in the area, conducting rituals in the nearby field. Now, of course, I imagine this was probably during the Satanic Panic era. Always leave it up to those devilish Satanists. Which actually it kind of gets into the whole aspect of, like, I don't know, like vortexes and things like that. Are there really certain places on this planet where maybe the veil is thin and weird stuff kind of leaks through? Um, that of course would be up for a different debate. But so additionally, an old dairy on Riverdale Road is said to harbor a tree that was once used for hanging women accused of witchcraft. Some claim to have witnessed street signs on the road covered in dried blood and small handprints, believed to be the work of a young boy who tragically lost his life while walking to school and now lingers as a ghost. Passerbyers have reported sightings of additional apparitions along this road. Witnesses have encountered the ghosts of a jogger and a lady in white, adding to the road's eerie reputation. As stories continue to circulate about the supernatural occurrences along Riverdale Road, it remains a place of fascination and intrigue, drawing the attention of paranormal enthusiasts from far and wide. Sorry, wrong one. So Calvin said he had not heard of that one. I had not either, and neither had Lisa either. And Kisa wants to know what year model is that Spectre Camaro? I don't know, but if I imagine these probably go back to the 70s, maybe early 80s. So it would have to be like one of the really cool ones, you know, um, like the big muscle car, I imagine, because you can't have, you've got to have, like, you've got hitchhikers and road ghosts and all that kind of stuff, and like some sort of like Spectre car. It's got to be a muscle car. Come on. All right. So now, and I find this one interesting. And like when I go and when I'm saying like there often are like little tidbits of information or tidbits of truth that may lead to some of these urban legends or these haunted locations or cryptids or whatnot. I like it when there's some sort of historical context and it's referred to like not during the 70s when everybody was like seeing all kinds of stuff, you know, but further back. And I found this one really interesting, and it's called the Corpse Light in Cape Henlopen, Delaware. So lighthouses are renowned symbols of hope and guidance for lost ships, typically positioned along coastal areas with its closest proximity to the sea. Now Cape Henlopen State Park in Delaware seems like the ideal location for a lighthouse. Close to the sea, got an outcrop, would make a whole lot of sense. However, contrary to expectations, no lighthouse was ever constructed within the park. Instead, Cape Henlopen harbors a chilling legend known as the Corpse Light. It is a phantom light that deceives unsuspecting sailors, leading them to their tragic demise. Now, the tale of the Corpse Light traces back to the ill-fated sinking of the Devonshireman on December 25th of 1655. So it goes way back. Drawn by the alluring glow of the non-existent lighthouse, the ship followed the phantom light to the treacherous rocky shores of Cape Henlopen. The devastating crash claimed the lives of over 200 individuals. And according to local lore, the ghostly ship periodically reenacts the tragic event, forever trapped in its spectral maritime tragedy. Now, the origins of the Corpse Light can be traced back to at least 250 years, supposedly conjured by British soldiers who disrupted a Native American marriage ceremony. As a result, a curse was placed upon European ships entering American shores, dooming them to destruction. The Corpse Light serves as a haunting symbol of false comfort, luring vessels towards their demise under the deceptive guise of safety. With its eerie history and the tragic fate it bestows upon those who encounter it, Cape Henlopen State Park and its Corpse Light have become one of the most haunting locations in Delaware. It stands as a chilling reminder of the dangers that lie beneath the surface, forever shrouded in mystery and melancholy. So I like that one. That one I found to be really, really cool. And I like that it's got some historical reference. Now, I do think, if I remember correctly, they have built it's not really a working lighthouse like when you think of a lighthouse. I think they have built one there in the Cape Henlopen State Park, but it's more of kind of like, I don't want to say a tourist destination, but it's not the working type of lighthouse that we would think of. It's more of just, I don't know, they just built it. So, and I think it's fairly new in comparison to how far back this particular urban legend or haunted location goes. So I really found that interesting, and I like that one. I like that one. So, so Kisa says, "Ooh, I love lighthouses. I've been to a few. Yeah, lighthouses are really cool, and they just seem to have that kind of spooky mystique to them. You know, there's certain places that do that. I don't know if it's because you could kind of sort of in a way think of it as a liminal space kind of, or if it's just the whole, I don't know, the sea. The sea seems so mysterious to me. And it can be very giving as far as like fish and stuff like that. But Mother Nature can also be incredibly destructive when it comes to stuff like that. So yeah, I find them very, very interesting as well, Kisa. And Nadine's here. Hey, Nadine, how are you? I'm so glad you were able to join us. So glad you're here. All right. So now this one, Kisa, you may be familiar with this one too. I didn't realize it was gone though. So it's you can't go see it now, which is kind of sad. Um, but I had heard of this one before, and this is very localized to the state of Georgia. So we're going to talk about now the cursed pillar in Augusta, Georgia. Now, Augusta, Georgia holds a renowned landmark that has long captivated the imagination of locals, the infamous haunted pillar. This solitary structure is the sole remnant of the historic city market that once spanned across Broad Street at Center Street, now Fifth Street. From its construction in 1830, the market thrived until tragedy struck in February of 1878, when a rare winter tornado decimated the area, leaving the haunted pillar as its sole survivor. And you may ask, now, Godmother, why is this pillar haunted? Well, let me tell you. So the pillar's haunting reputation stems from a local legend that surrounds it, a belief that any attempt to move, destroy, or even touch it will result in death. The origin of this curse varies, and I'm going to give you the most well known kind of backstory to the haunted pillar. Now, the origins of this curse vary, with different stories circulating among the townsfolk. Now, according to the most popular tale, a traveling preacher sought permission to evangelize at the market but was denied. In response, the preacher stood in the center of the square and proclaimed that a powerful wind would destroy the market, leaving only one pillar standing. Furthermore, he warned that anyone who dared tamper with the remaining pillar would meet a fatal fate. Now, oddly and remarkably, shortly after the preacher's proclamation, a freak tornado tore through Augusta, fulfilling his prophecy. Now, there are historical accounts that recount the final tolling of the market bell, which was at 1 a.m., just before the cyclone struck. The destructive force narrowly missed Richmond Academy, uprooting a large china tree and toppling a brick wall. The entire marketplace was leveled, save for one lone pillar that stood as a silent witness to the devastating event. So there is some historical reference to the tornado that actually happened, and it actually did take out the market. Now, whether or not there was a preacher that cursed, I don't know. And then you kind of get into this whole like, or what's the word I'm looking for? When enough people believe it, it actually comes to fruition, kind of like a passive cursing of something, just from like so many people thinking that it's cursed. Now, however, the curse did not end there. It was believed that anyone who dared to disturb the pillar would meet a swift demise. Now, in 1931, Augusta Mayor Will Jennings even hired a press agent to publicize the curse, further ingraining it in the community's consciousness. Accounts from the late 1950s tell of unfortunate highway workers who were struck by lightning or met fatal accidents when they attempted to move the pillar. Sadly, though, the pillar's eerie saga took an unexpected turn in December of 2016 when it was destroyed in a car collision. While some residents may have felt a sense of relief, there are still those who firmly believe that the pillar was not to be trifled with under any circumstance. Though physically absent, the legend of Augusta's haunted pillar lives on, continuing to captivate the imagination of locals and visitors alike. Oh, and do we have Raven? So Raven, I don't see you, but hello. Hello, so glad you're here. There's my call. So Kisa says she's never heard of this one. You know, I happened to hear about this one when we actually went to Augusta once. And I can't remember what where I saw it. It may have just been like one of those little like pamphlet like things, like a ghost tour type thing. But when we went, it was still there. So I was kind of sad to hear that it wasn't there anymore. And it's kind of weird that it was taken out by a car collision. So yeah, that's weird. And Kisa brings up a good point. So yeah, I didn't get into this, but the Georgia Guidestones. So the Georgia Guidestones are weird in my opinion because when they were still standing, you would have some people that would say that it was like some sort of like they could feel energy there, and it's got a really like kind of mysterious backstory that goes along with the Georgia Guidestones, and kind of almost as mysterious of a demise as far as them being destroyed. But I remember when we were thinking about going to see them, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, don't go see them because we had nothing but bad luck after we went and saw them." And then some people were like, "No, it's a really cool place and it makes you feel energized." It did have some odd writing on it though, like a lot of the stuff that what were you supposed to read it from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top? I can't remember. But it kind of started off like, oh, well, that's understandable. And then it really got into some like weird stuff um, about how society should do things. And it was just, it was an odd bird. It was a one-off odd bird location. But yeah, I never got to go see it, but it is a very interesting story, Keith. You're absolutely right. All right, now this is one I had never heard of. Zombie Road in Wildwood, Missouri. Now, nestled in Wildwood, Missouri, lies a trail that goes by many names. Once known as Lawler Ford Road or the A.I. Foster Trail, it now carries the chilling reputation of being one of the most haunted roads in the world. Spanning 2.3 miles, this trail, which is closed to the public access during the night, and I think they're pretty strict about that as far as people not going out there at night, holds a significant historical secret. It is home to one of the largest Native American burial mounds in the entire country. Located near the intersection of Highway 109 and Old State Road, the trail, dating back to the 1860s, was originally constructed to grant passage to the nearby Merrimack River and railroad tracks. However, as time passed, this picturesque path became shrouded in mystery and ghostly tales, earning it its ominous moniker, Zombie Road. Legend has it the spirits of indigenous people, Confederate soldiers, industrial workers, and children still roam these grounds. While the trail, paved paved and 10 feet wide, is still largely inaccessible by car. It remains open to cyclists and pedestrians during daylight hours. Even when the road was you hear me? More frequented, blah, 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 its narrow, winding lanes through dense woods emitted an eerie vibe. So it was just one of those places that kind of gave you an eerie vibe. And it could just be kind of the way the roads curve, that kind of thing. Um, but it was said that shadows dance and half light obscured the next curve, making it a treacherous passage. So it sounds like it's a really kind of overgrown, not necessarily overgrown, but like a lot of foliage, and just kind of the way it curves. Like if you've ever if you've ever seen some tours of like, oh, what's the name of the underground subway in London? But just the way it curves, it kind of makes you feel like someone's following you because you can't see around every curve. It's just kind of creepy like that. Is the way it's kind of sounding to me. Now, as the years went by, the road fell into disrepair and was eventually abandoned, left mostly unused. Its secluded location, however, attracted local teenagers in the 1950s who sought it out as a spot for parties, drinking, and clandestine encounters. In other words, smooching. One particularly spine-chilling tale, given the road, which gave the road its name, speaks of the zombie killer, a sinister figure who resided in a shack within the woods, preyed on unsuspecting young lovers seeking seclusion. Among the haunted tales, one stands out: the ghostly presence of a person who was struck by a train now lingers in the area. This legend takes on a more chilling tone when connected to the real life story of Della Hamilton. McLeod, Miss McLeod, the wife of a local judge, did tragically lose her life in 1876 after being hit by a train. With no other records of train related fatalities in the vicinity during that time, many do believe that Mrs. McLeod's spirit may indeed be the renowned ghost of this legend. A little bit of historical connection there, which is always cool. Adding to the eerie atmosphere are the decaying remnants of houses that once belonged to a resort community in Glencoe, which thrived until the mid 1940s. Some of these abandoned structures may house apparitions that visitors encounter, amplifying the road's haunted allure. Near the beach area at the trail's end, witnesses have reported encountering a mysterious old woman this is kind of funny, who scolds passerbyers from her house, only to vanish when you investigate. So she'll holler at you from like, hey, little kid, get off my lawn. But then when you go and investigate, she disappears. Now, another tale surrounds the specter of a boy who allegedly fell from the bluff along the river. His body was never recovered. Now, reports of Native American ghost sightings are also prevalent. Given the area's rich history with the original tribes that once inhabited it, it is even possible that parts of Zombie Road originated as an ancient Indian trail. While the original railroad has all but vanished, faint remnants can still be seen at the trail's end. Numerous accounts describe a translucent figure in white traversing the abandoned track only to disappear upon approaching or emitting an ethereal bluish white glow. Tragic accidents along these rails resulting in derailments and even discontinued services may explain the presence of restless spirits. The chilling ambience of Zombie Road is not solely derived from its surroundings. Many have reported unsettling feelings of being watched, accompanied by eerie sounds, inexplicable noises, and phantom footsteps that defy explanation. While some may dismiss these experiences as mere product of the eerie atmosphere, it is difficult to ignore the sense that something otherworldly lingers within the trail's ethereal realm. So yeah, so that's kind of an interesting one. I would like to go there. It does sound a little creepy. And guys, if you live near this area, I think they are pretty strict about people trying to get in there at night. So unless you don't want a ticket or a little trip to the Hooskow, I would probably go during the daytime. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to a midway ad real quick so I can get something to drink for my tumbleweed throat. And then we'll get back to this. So give me just a second.
What's your emergency?
I wish to create a perfect human being, selecting the best organs from different scores. And 4 has now five in a another sign of a human. Murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life.
Cause I got my Galaxy 500.
Get with your nearest cult member.
Double stacking is a noun that refers to the action in a horror movie of impaling both members of a canoodling couple.
The creation of the atomic bomb. What was it?
Oppenheimer?
The Manhattan Project.
The Manhattan.
And everything they're bringing up.
I was about to say the Philadelphia experiment. I mean, which one are we talking about here?
To go into depth, so I'm looking up heavy water. What does heavy water do to a person's body? And I'm like, okay, they're watching me now. I know they're watching me.
Don't you judge us! Don't you be judging us! You come in here with your book learning and your
And we're back. And yeah, don't forget, buy our shit. All right, let's move over here to the comments real quick. There's Raven. There you are. Hey, Raven. So glad you're here. All right, so Kisa says highway, did you say 120? Here in Georgia, in Buchanan, I believe she said. It gives you kind of a weird vibe. Yeah, there's one, and I don't even know if it's there anymore. Last time I went down that road, this is true story, guys. So there's this road in Fayetteville, Georgia, that you can use to cut through, and people that are kind of familiar with like the south part of Atlanta, kind of the outer parts of Atlanta. I cannot remember the name of that road. But anyway, it was just this, you could use it to cut through from Fayetteville proper down to the interstate at Union City so that you could hit the interstate. It was just like a shortcut, right? And this road was just uber creepy. Like I would not drive down that road by myself at night at all. I didn't even like driving down it during the day. So anyway, me and a friend, we were going to Atlanta one day. And so we used this road because like I said, it's like a shortcut. And we went down this road, and have you ever seen something out of the corner of your eye and your brain doesn't want you to see it? So I know this sounds weird. It will make up something else, like a protective mechanism. So we're going down this road, and it's really like only about one car. Like it's a tight squeeze when two cars go on it. It's paved. But it's really like windy, and the grass is really tall, and there's like kind of swampy trees on either side. And So we're going down the road, and it was probably around lunchtime. And I remember seeing something in the tall grass out of the corner of my eye. And all I could think of is lock the door. So I locked the door. So we're gone for a couple of hours, and we come back. And it's probably, I don't know, we've probably been gone 4, 6 hours, something like that. And we come back. The whole road is like ribboned off. There's cops at both ends, not letting anybody go up this road. Dude, there was a dead body. Like, it had been out there for a long time. That I guess animals kind of pulled it sort of out into the road. And I'm almost betting you that's what like my brain saw and was like, dead deer or something like that. But yeah, that I understand what you're saying, Keitha. Some roads are like that. They're just uber creepy. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about the water babies of Massacre Rock in Pocatello, Idaho. Now, outside of the hometown or the town of Pocatello, Idaho, there's a tragic, frightening spot known as Massacre Rock. Long ago, it was the scene of an incredibly awful and sad incident. And nowadays, it is the home of ghosts who haunt it because of that incident. Now, the legend goes that when Native Americans inhabited this area, there was a severe famine. It was also it was so intense that the villagers got together and decided that they weren't because there was not enough food to feed any new mouths. All the babies that were born would basically be like the mothers would be forced to take them down to this river at Massacre Rock and basically just throw them in, which is super sad. But now this does happen. If you look at the history of the Eogahara, and I forget the name that the Japanese use for what it's called, but even with like the Eogahara, they used to take old, infirm, sick, very young, when the famine hit Japan. And I want to say it was during the 15 or 1600s. I could be wrong on the actual dates, but they would basically take them out into the woods and just leave them. And that's kind of how they think that the Ogahara has kind of gotten that weird vibe, that weird. I think there's some sort of vortex there, to be very honest with you. That's just a really weird place. But these kinds of things were not absolutely unheard of. It did happen during famines and things like that when they did not have enough food to feed everyone. Basically, the strong would survive. Um, so their mothers basically, again, they were forced to take them down to the nearby river and drown them or throw them into the river rather than have them live a life of constant hunger and starvation. Nowadays, these so-called water babies still make their presence known. If you go to the banks of this river and sit for a while in silence, it is said you will begin to hear the unmistakable sounds of babies crying. It's supposed to be the spirits of those same babies looking for their mothers. However, be warned. It is also said after the babies were drowned or thrown into the river, they changed. They grew fins and gills in order to survive in the water by eating small fish. People have reported seeing these water spirits playing in the canals and rivers in the area of Massacre Rock. But some say these spirits may try to lure humans to their deaths in order to avenge their sad fates. So yeah, I think that's an interesting one. And there are tales of water babies in other places too. So it kind of seems to be kind of a shared cryptid of some sort, and maybe even an indigenous tale. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. But some of these do reference that they go back pretty far. So, all right. So let's talk about the Bandaged Man of Canyon Beach. Now, this is in Oregon. Nestled along the picturesque coastline of Oregon lies the charming city of Canyon Beach, a destination that beckons travelers to embark on Highway 101. And 101 actually runs through Georgia, so I think it's a pretty long highway. By day, this stretch of road appears unremarkable, but as night falls, whispers of a chilling legend emerge. A spectral figure resembling a mummy is said to haunt the very asphalt itself. During the years of the Second World War, Oregon sawmills buzzed with heightened activity as the demand for construction materials surged amidst labor shortages. With workers racing against time to complete their tasks, accidents became an unfortunate consequence of the frantic pace. And if you know anything about like the baby boomers and right after World War II, there was like this huge growth of the middle class. So houses were literally popping up everywhere. In the aftermath of a relentless rainstorm, tragedy struck. A logger, slipping and sliding amidst the chaos, found himself caught in the unforgiving embrace of a saw blade. The severity of his wounds prompted his co-workers to summon an ambulance with urgency. The medics, confronted by the deep gashes that marred his body, hastily swathed him in layers of bandages, hoping to ease his suffering. As the ambulance raced along Highway 101, disaster struck yet again. The treacherous conditions of the road proved insidious, causing the vehicle to careen off course and crash. When the authorities arrived at the scene, they discovered the unconscious medic, but the man, shrouded in his bandages, had vanished without a trace. A thorough search was launched in the ensuing days, but it yielded no results. No hospitals reported his arrival, no sightings were documented, and despite the severity of his injuries, no lifeless body was recovered. All that remained as a haunting reminder was a small fragment of blood-stained bandage. Now, the bandaged man did return. Several years later, a young couple found themselves parking their pickup truck in a secluded stretch of Canyon Beach along Highway 101. As they settled into their spot, they were momentarily startled by a rustling sound. Now, this rustling sound emanating from the nearby woods, they basically easily dismissed it as like, the wind, or animals, that kind of thing. However, their tranquility was abruptly shattered as a putrid stench of decaying flesh permeated the air, accompanied by unsettling vibrations, shaking the truck as if an unseen presence had clambered into the rear of the truck bed. Their hearts pounded with terror as they peered through the small window, and they were confronted by the sight of a man, swathed in blood-soaked bandages, affixing his gaze upon them. The bandaged figure unleashed a calliope of shouts and hammered relentlessly on the roof of the truck. Reacting swiftly, the driver cranked the engine and sped away, narrowly avoiding a potential catastrophe as far as a collision. When they summoned the courage to glance back, the figure had vanished without a trace. Seeking the solace of a well-lit area, the driver cautiously exited the truck and ventured out to inspect the rear. There, amidst the remains of the encounter, lay a torn fragment of the bandaged man's blood-stained wrappings. Since that fateful day, numerous encounters have surfaced, recounting sightings of the bandaged man manifesting atop or behind vehicles. Some assert that his apparition has participated a series of accidents and tragic fatalities. So it's kind of like an omen. He'll show up, right before like an accident or a tragic fatality, not like the Mothman. Legends surrounding the bandaged man suggest that he has evolved into more of a ghoul-like creature or ravenous zombie, relentlessly driven to consume flesh. Now, disturbingly, reports have emerged of missing pets along Canyon Beach, later discovered mutilated, allegedly falling victim to the bandaged man's insatiable appetite. Others contend that his essence has transcended mortality, transforming into a restless ghost, forever tethered to Highway 101 and Canyon Beach. And he basically haunting the place where his earthly demise occurred. So he's kind of stuck on that, that expansion of road. Hence, should you ever find yourself traversing the expanse of Highway 101 and you smell a fetid odor of decay permeating from your vehicle, exercise utmost caution, for the presence of the bandaged man may be lurking ominously nearby. Ooh, creepy. Let's see what's going on in the comments. Oh, did the caption say buy our ship? No, buy our shit. S-H-I-T. Oh, Akia, how are you? So glad you're here. Hello. We have Ivar. Hello, Ivar. All right. So now we're going to get to, and I've heard of this one. I actually heard of this one a long time ago and forgot all about it. And so this may kind of, I don't know, you may have heard this like when you were younger. My dad always told me like the weirdest stories. He was so cool. This is the deep frozen hill folk of Montpelier, Vermont. The account was originally published on the front page of the Montpelier Argus and Patriot on December 21st of 1887. Reported to be true, the reporter found entries in his Uncle William's diary detailing one family's ritual of freezing their elderly and weak and putting them into literal cold storage for the winter. In a secluded mountain town, just a short distance from Montpelier, an impoverished family of hill farmers faced the harsh reality of Vermont's unforgiving winters each year. Their meager food supply was simply not enough to sustain them through the cold months. However, these resourceful farmers, known for their resilience, devised a chilling solution to their dilemma, though it is not for the faint of heart. Through a disturbing process, they developed a method to temporarily freeze certain family members alive, only to thaw them out in time to assist with the spring planting. Unusually, the older and the infirmed were chosen for this unconventional hibernation. In one particular account, Uncle William bore witness to the family administering drugs to 6 family members, 4 men and 2 women. As the effects of the drug took hold in the warmth of their cabin, the rest of the family carried on with their tasks, and once the 6 individuals were rendered unconscious, they were stripped down to minimal clothing and taken outside. Under the wintry encampment of Vermont's weather, their bodies gradually succumbed to freezing temperatures. Fingers, noses, and ears turned pale under the glow of the full moon. After a few hours, the frozen bodies were carefully placed in a box, cushioned with straw to protect them from predators during their months-long cold storage. Blanketed by falling snow and drifts, the boxes remained buried and kept cold from January until May. When the time came to release the bodies from their icy grave for the arrival of spring, the men of the family dug through the snow, prying open the lids of the box. Stiff, frigid bodies were gently lifted out and laid upon the frozen terrain. Now, submerged in steaming baths infused with hemlock potion, the bodies slowly began to regain their color, and the fingers showed signs of movement. Family members tirelessly rubbed the bodies, aiding in their revival. Eventually, the frozen hill people began to awake. They were brought indoors to sit by a roaring fire and given a savory meal, which would have been their first meal for months. Within just a few hours, those who had been frozen appeared completely rejuvenated. Their foul 4-month slumber seemingly enhanced really their overall health. As accounts of this extraordinary tale first emerged, revealing one farming family's extraordinary solution to their food storage, the legend of the frozen hill people spread far and wide, capturing the attention worldwide. Even today, there are those seasoned individuals who steadfastly claim the story is true. And I had forgotten all about that one, but I had heard of that one before. And that's kind of a quirky one, kind of funny. Just freeze the older and infirmed family members until it's time for them to help plant. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure that really works. So, all right. So now we're going to talk about the spiteful mermaid of Pyramid Lake in Pyramid Lake, Nevada. Now, just north of Reno, you'll find one of Nevada's largest natural lakes that has a truly chilling story. For as long as most residents can remember, there have been terrifying tales told about Pyramid Lake, reaching depths of 900 feet in some places. Don't let this lake's beauty and grandeur fool you. It is the last surviving remnant of the ancient lake Lafayette that covered nearly all of Nevada during the Pliocene era. And Pyramid Lake is the deepest part of that prehistoric lake. And nobody knows exactly what lurks in the sediment below because it's super deep. There are many legends of strange creatures lurking beneath the water's surface. And this particular lake does also have some water baby legends. Now, in the realm of cryptids, there exists an intriguing tale of a mermaid who captured the heart of a Canute warrior. According to legend, the warrior brought the mermaid to his village with the intention of marrying her. However, the village elders insisted that she be returned to the water. This decision sparked a fury within the mermaid, and she cast a curse upon the tribe. Over time, the mermaid's grief transformed into an unbridled anger, leading her to enact a grim fate upon the tribe. She began to systematically drown the members of the tribe, one by one, within the depths of the lake. Fishermen who crossed her path were lured beneath the water, paying the ultimate price with their lives. Disturbingly, even in present times, reports persist of countless individuals vanishing within the lake each year, their fate forever unknown. Today, many of the Canute members believe that all bad luck, including the Pyramid Lake War, is tied to that curse. Now, a fun fact, well, I don't know if you say fun fact, interesting fact. Many witnesses have reported that at times the calm water becomes turbulent with waves without any rhyme or reason. Now, another real mystery at this unique lake involves bodies that have disappeared from Pyramid Lake and then to mysteriously resurface in Lake Tahoe, which is over 61 miles away. Not only does Lake Tahoe feed the Truckee River, but the Truckee River feeds Pyramid Lake. Making matters even weirder is that Pyramid Lake has no outlet whatsoever. So it would basically be like bodies floating upstream. So I find that really weird. Like they seem to think like there may be, I don't know if they're, I mean, I'm assuming myself, maybe lava tubes or or old lava tubes, or some sort of cave system or something like that, that could connect these two lakes. But for whatever reason, a lot of times when bodies go missing in Pyramid Lake, they wind up in Lake Tahoe. So I think that's really kind of weird, and kind of cool all at the same time. But yeah, that's what I got. So let's go through the comments, and I hope you found that interesting. And again, like I said, if you are part of our Patreon, we are going to continue this with the cutie patootie Fresno Nightcrawler. Really cool haunted traveling pants that we've actually got footage of. One of the very few cryptids that we can say we've got footage of. And they're up for debate, but there have been a lot of people that have at least looked at the first recording of the first Fresno Nightcrawlers, the one from Fresno, and have been unable to recreate it. So it is up for debate. Even MUFON did a thing on it. And if you're not familiar with MUFON, look that up. They're kind of into all the alien stuff and things like that. But really cool story, really cool videos. They did pop up somewhere else and get caught on video. So, but that one's up for debate. You can tell a difference in how they walk. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you be the judge of that. So let's go through the comments real quick, and then we're going to say goodbye to everybody but our patrons. And I'll meet you over there shortly. Okay, so Nadine says pronounce Mount Peeler. Okay. Capital of Vermont. Okay, awesome. Because I do love to accidentally, it's always by accident, completely butcher names. I really don't mean to do it. And so Ivar wants to give it a try. I don't know, some of these places might be kind of cool. Like I would like to go see the corpse light, as long as like I'm not in a ship, because I really don't want to crash. But some of these other places, I don't know. And Nikisa said, let's thaw out Uncle Bob. I just think that story is kind of cute. It's very humorous. It's very humorous. Hello, Alan. How are you? And then Kisa says, reminds me of Lake Lanier. Yeah, Lake Lanier has got a lot of its own ghost stories. And if you've ever seen Deliverance, that town at the very end, it's underwater now. It's part of Lake Lanier now. And then Nadine says, I love the Fresno night crawlers. They are adorable. Are they not the most adorable cutie patootie alien slash cryptid slash I don't know what you've ever seen? They are just so cute. So cute. And then Ivar says like Crater Lake. Isn't Crater Lake the one that has like a lot of disappearances around it? Like not necessarily in the water, but actually around the lake. Like people just poof, like the whole, missing 411 type stuff. All right, so I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I am so sorry. But we have covered our hour. So we are going to meet our patrons over on Patreon. And I'm going to give you the address if you are interested in becoming a patron and a supporter and an official Bunny of Chaos. Definitely join us over there. Like I said, we're not frivolous with this money. Everything goes into the company, goes into being able to bring you the best content that we can, different, things, different things like that. So it all goes back into the company, and you're always forever loved anyway, but the monetary support would be awesome. So, but it's not a requirement. So best thing you can do is just share our content, and that's absolutely free. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Pleasant nightmares, and I'll see patrons over at Patreon.